Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
The intellectual landscape preceding the publication of John von Neumann and Oskar Morgenstern's theory of games and economic behavior was a space of both fragmentation and nascent synthesis. Economic theory, largely dominated by classical and neoclassical models, often struggled to address scenarios involving strategic interaction. These models, valuable in their own right, assumed perfect competition, rational actors, and complete information, conditions frequently absent in the real world. In theory, a mathematical framework for studying strategic interactions existed principally as a framework for the study of zero-sum games, often used in military strategic planning and parlor games. The work of mathematicians like Ernst Zermelo, who proved the existence of a winning strategy for the game of chess, and the pioneering work of von Neumann himself on zero-sum games, a period of intense mathematical work in the 1920s and 1930s, laid crucial groundwork. These earlier contributions, particularly von Neumann's 1928 paper Zur Theorie der Gesellschaftsspiele on the theory of parlor games, established fundamental principles like the Minimax theorem, which demonstrated the existence of a guaranteed strategy for each player in a two-player zero-sum game. However, these contributions offered limited applicability to the complexities of economic behavior, where cooperative strategies, positivism games, and incomplete information scenarios were prevalent. This limitation, coupled with the emerging recognition of the importance of strategic decision-making in economics, created a pressing need for a comprehensive theoretical framework. The absence of a robust mathematical theory of social interaction, particularly in areas like oligopoly, bargaining, and international relations, motivated the development of a new approach. Von Neumann, a mathematician of extraordinary capabilities, brought his rigorous mathematical prowess and background in physics to bear on economics, collaborating with Morgenstern, an economist well versed in the practical applications of economic principles, to bridge this gap. The 1948 publication, Theory of Games and Economic Behavior, represented a grand, ambitious, and profoundly transformative project. At its heart lay the concept of a game defined formally as any situation involving two or more players, each possessing a set of possible strategies, and with payoffs that depend on the strategies selected by all players. The approach, initially focusing on zero-sum games, provided the mathematical tools to analyze these strategic interactions. The cornerstone of their work was the development of the concept of a solution to a game, representing a stable set of strategies when no player would benefit by unilaterally deviating from this set. The Minimax theorem, a central result from von Neumann's earlier work, was extended and refined, providing a basis for predicting the optimal strategies in two-person zero-sum games. Players were assumed to be rational economic actors, constantly seeking to maximize their expected utility. Utility, in this context, was treated as a cardinal measure, enabling precise mathematical calculations concerning risk and uncertainty. This differed from much of the existing economic literature that relied on ordinal utility. The book introduced the concept of mixed strategies, where players randomly choose their actions according to a probability distribution, a revolutionary idea at the time. The authors then extended their analysis beyond zero-sum games, exploring cooperative games, where players could form coalitions to achieve mutually beneficial outcomes. This marked a significant departure from the earlier work, and required considering the possibilities of side payments and the development of new solution concepts, such as the core of a game. The authors developed the theoretical framework for describing games in characteristic function form, where the value of possible cooperative agreements are codified in a new function. Further, the book engaged with the challenge of applying these mathematical principles to the complexities of economic behavior, addressing topics such as oligopoly, duopoly, bargaining, and the problem of utility. It included a treatment of expected utility, and the authors rigorously considered the role of risk and uncertainty in economic decisions. The book provided the foundations for a new branch of economics that would focus on strategic interaction. The immediate impact of theory of games and economic behavior was profound and multifaceted. The book immediately sparked a surge of interest within the mathematics and economics communities. Its influence spread rapidly across a range of disciplines, including political science, sociology, and operations research. The mathematical rigor of the approach was a major departure from the existing theoretical constructs. The clarity of the authors in defining the assumptions and their systematic treatment of the mathematical properties of games provided researchers with a powerful new framework. The book provided researchers with a common vocabulary and conceptual framework to analyze economic problems. The initial application of game theory was most evident in the realm of military strategy during the Cold War, with the analysis of strategic interactions between nuclear powers. Operations research, a field concerned with applying mathematical methods to decision-making, benefited, employing game-theoretic models to optimize resource allocation, scheduling and logistics. The book also spurred the rise of the field of behavioral economics. The early developments in the study of bargaining and negotiation, drawing directly from the book, helped to explain behavior in labor negotiations and international relations. The concepts of expected utility and rational choice, central to the game-theoretic framework, led to further investigations in these fields, including refinements to expected utility theory and the development of risk-adjusted decision methods. The book's impact became visible in the development of formal models of market behavior, moving beyond the simplistic assumptions of perfect competition to address the issues of oligopoly and imperfect information. The book encouraged a theoretical shift, and its influence on the economics of the time was undeniable. The subsequent evolution of game theory has been nothing short of phenomenal. Significant contributions built upon the foundations laid by von Neumann and Morgenstern. John Nash's work in the early 1950s, for example, significantly extended the realm of game theory. His development of the concept of the Nash equilibrium, a set of strategies where no player can improve their payoff by unilaterally changing their strategy, provided a more general solution concept applicable to a broader range of games, including non-cooperative games. Nash's work, described in his 1950 and 1951 papers, significantly expanded the scope of game theory and opened new avenues for research. The development of game theory continued with new approaches, including repeated games, where players interact over many periods, which allowed for the analysis of the emergence of cooperation and reputation effects. The study of incomplete information games provided a means for analyzing strategic interactions within the context of asymmetric information, where some players may be unaware of critical information. Bayesian game theory, building on these earlier developments, incorporated probabilistic reasoning to model beliefs about the other players' types. The introduction of evolutionary game theory provided a biological perspective, analyzing how strategies evolve within populations, applying the tools of game theory to model the evolution of traits in populations. Numerous applications have emerged, including the development of mechanism design, which uses game-theoretic principles to design institutions and markets to achieve desired outcomes. The refinement of solution concepts, such as refinements of Nash equilibrium, has continued, with researchers developing concepts like subgame perfect equilibrium to address issues of strategic behavior across time. The evolution of game theory has included computational game theory, which combines game-theoretic models with computational techniques to analyze complex strategic interactions. The study of cooperative game theory has been continuously developed, with refinements to core, the Shapley value, and other concepts. This has led to advances in areas like social choice theory and welfare economics. The book provided the initial framework for a field that has become essential for modern economic analysis. The reception of theory of games and economic behavior was, and continues to be, of great significance. Initial reactions from economists were mixed. The mathematical complexity of the work presented a challenge for some, but the book quickly gained recognition for its groundbreaking ideas. Critics, particularly early on, questioned the practicality of some of the assumptions, especially the assumption of perfect rationality. Some economists were skeptical of the applicability of game theory to the messy realities of economic life. The emphasis on strategic interaction, in contrast to the focus on equilibrium, was a significant shift in a previously static field. The approach of introducing a mathematical framework, rather than building economic theory from prior observational analysis, also caused concern. The work also had an early influence on policy decisions and, consequently, generated political discussion. However, the theoretical power of the framework and its ability to address questions previously unapproachable quickly won converts. The book generated widespread acclaim, eventually leading to a Nobel Prize in Economics for John Nash and a Nobel Prize for Ryeth Selton and John Harsney in 1994 for their contributions to game theory. The book's lasting significance can be seen in its widespread use across a variety of fields. Its influence transformed economic thought. The intellectual influences on theory of games and economic behavior stemmed from several sources, as it built on the work of others. Von Neumann's earlier work in mathematical logic and physics proved to be essential. His deep understanding of mathematics and his ability to build logically consistent frameworks shaped the book's fundamental structure and methodology. Oskar Morgenstern, with his insights into economic practice and his understanding of institutional structures, provided a crucial link between the mathematical theory and the real world. His understanding of the role of uncertainty, information, and incomplete information in economic decision-making was necessary. The book built on existing game theory, particularly von Neumann's own work. For the zero-sum games, but also expanded their reach. The influence of strategic thinking in military planning influenced the development of game theory. The study of decision theory and probability, and the framework for expected utility were crucial to the book's formulation. The ideas of rationality and the concept of the decision maker influenced the formulation of the book's core assumptions. The influence of prior theoretical and mathematical work was a large part of the success of the theory of games and economic behavior. The direct influence of theory of games and economic behavior on subsequent work is far-reaching and easily observed. John Ash's work, as previously indicated, was profoundly influenced by the book. Ash's work on non-cooperative games and his concept of the Nash equilibrium built on the framework introduced in theory of games and economic behavior is significantly expanded the applicability of game theory to wider classes of games. The book's focus on strategic interaction provided the groundwork necessary for the development of the theory of mechanism design. The theory of mechanism design, developed by researchers like Leonid Humwicz, Eric Maskin, and Roger Myerson, uses game theory to design institutions and markets, and owes its intellectual genesis to the theoretical work of von Neumann and Morgenstern. It developed as a direct response to the book's emphasis on strategic choices and its implications for institutional outcomes. Further, theory of games and economic behavior provided a theoretical foundation for much of the work on behavioral economics. The focus on rationality, expected utility, and strategic interaction became central to this area. The book's methods were the basis for the development of research on bargaining theory. The work's influence can be observed in the study of game theory applications in various fields, including computer science, biology, political science, and operations research. The book's concepts and methods have informed the tools used by researchers across a variety of disciplines. The influence of the book remains strong, shaping academic research, providing a framework for analyzing strategic behavior in many fields.
We really appreciate you tuning into this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.